This is how Artur Beterbiev beats Dmitry Bivol. This has probably been my most requested video in recent times. Besides the several top comments on all of my videos, I've even gotten emails reaching out about this fight, and I told you guys I would make this video when the time comes, and with the fight being 2 weeks out, the time has finally come to deliver on my promise. If you're new to this little mini series I have on this channel, I detail how the underdog in a big upcoming fight can beat the other guy. And with this highly anticipated matchup between the two best light heavyweights in boxing, it's finally time to detail how Artur Beterbiev, the ever so slight underdog, can beat the seemingly perfect Dmitry Bivol. This is probably boxing's fight of the year and probably one of the hardest fights to predict this year. So fuck it. Let's try to predict this fight and go with Artur Beterbiev as the victor. First, of course, let's go over the stats. Physically, these guys are virtually identical. Dmitry Bivol is 23-0, stands 6 foot tall with an identical 72-inch reach. Artur Beterbiev is 20-0, stands 6 foot tall with a slightly longer reach at 73 inches. Is that 1-inch reach advantage going to be a difference maker? I'll go over their style soon enough, but I doubt it with the way these guys fight. So again, their physical stats are about the same and virtually identical, but what isn't identical is their age. For a lot of people, a big asterisk on this fight is Bivol being 33 and seemingly in his prime, while Artur Beterbiev is 39, a whopping 6-year age gap between the two. Now, I'm not going to lie, this is a legitimate factor going into the fight, and probably one of the main factors for the odds being the way they are. At least in the UFC and even most sports, performance seems to drop off at around 34 or 35. So Beterbiev being 4 to 5 years older than that number is concerning. However, in the defense of Beterbiev's age, it doesn't look like his age has slowed him down in his recent performances. Since turning 34 in 2019, he's faced the best competition in his career, KO'd everyone, and age didn't seem to be a factor in any one of those fights. They say power is the last thing that goes from a fighter, and Artur Beterbiev's power doesn't look like it's slowing down anytime soon. I mean, of course, it would be nice if Beterbiev was the same age as Bivol, but I don't think his style relies on youth or athleticism. We'll go over it in detail, but he's able to land his power with great pressure, footwork, and timing rather than explosiveness, something age would have taken away. But how does he compare to Dmitry Bivol's style? Dmitry Bivol is the perfect version of the Soviet style. For those who don't know, the Soviets developed an iconic boxing style recognized by quick in-and-out footwork, straight punches, especially the jab, to supplement said footwork, and all of this is accompanied by great timing to really tie things together. This style has been shown effective by Vladimir Klitschko and Alexander Usyk, champions of course, but arguably been perfected by Dmitry Bivol. Bivol's hand speed mixed with his footwork and timing is amazing, but what really makes his interpretation of the Soviet style perfect is his ability to get the fight to where he wants it and stick to the game plan at all times. Let's look back to the Canelo fight, but before that, a word from today's sponsor. UFC 307 is going down this weekend in Salt Lake City. Get in on the action with my partners at DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now, all new customers who bet just $5 will instantly get $200 in bonus bets instantly. I think everyone's overlooking this card. I think the main event with Alex Pereira and Khalil Roundtree is going to be such a fun banger. Of course, I got my money on Alex Pereira, and you can put some money on this event as well by, again, if you're a new customer, betting just $5 on anything and receiving $200 in bonus bets instantly. And if sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry, DraftKings is the one-stop shop for all things daily fantasy, where you can join in on all the fun and have the shot to win cash prizes. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use my promo code TJLovesFights and bet just $5 on any wager and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code TJLovesFights only at DraftKings Sportsbook. This is the fight that really showed Dmitry Bivol and the effectiveness of his Soviet style to a wider audience. We'll get back to his blazing fast hand speed in a second, but when rewatching this fight, what really impressed me was how well Bivol implemented ring generalship and kept this fight where he wanted it to be. We've seen Canelo countless times be able to steamroll opponents, pressure the hell out of them, and push them to the ropes and get the fight to where he wants it to be. In contrast, it was Bivol consistently getting this fight to where he wanted it to be and quickly avoiding Canelo's pressure. He didn't get lulled in or baited to the ropes. Anytime he sensed Canelo backing him to the ropes and getting his feet set, he immediately pivoted out of the way, only letting Canelo land 1 or 2 shots before turning the tables and getting Canelo to the ropes where Bivol wants this fight to be. And this is where Bivol obviously operates the best, with his opponents to the ropes, showed up with no intention of throwing back. We saw this often, Bivol spamming his jab to get Canelo showed up, and from here, Bivol would unload with a quick burst of punches from different angles. Bivol's main goal is to always get his opponents to the ropes showed up so he can unload with a series of straight punches and have all the space in the world behind him to move in and out. He did this well against Canelo, but in my opinion, where we saw this the best was his fight against Lyndon Artur. Here in this third round, Bivol forces Artur to get him to where he wants to be, showed up on the ropes, and overwhelms him with straight punches and a left hook sprinkled in to lay down some real damage. This damage would pay off in the 11th when Bivol again forced Lyndon Artur to shell up on the ropes, landed 2 heavy left hooks to the body to send him down. And I don't care how good you are on the ropes, I think it's practically impossible to defend Bivol's burst of offense on the ropes if you're just shelled up and not throwing anything back. And this is what Canelo learned. Canelo can be one of the best boxers off the ropes and can thrive here sometimes, but against Bivol he looked frozen, and another great aspect of Bivol's game is his discipline. Canelo was often baiting Bivol to unload on the ropes to look for a counter or at least be able to get into a firefight to find an opening, but Bivol never once bit. Even though he was the bigger man and probably could have taken what Canelo was going to throw, he never risked a brawl or firefight for pride or entertainment. He just kept doing what he was doing. And besides pivoting out of the way, Bivol can always fight out of the pressure and turn the tables whenever he wants. The best example of this was probably in his fight against Zurdo Ramirez. In the 9th year, Zurdo was gaining forward momentum just to get stopped in his tracks by Bivol biting down and unleashing straight punches to get the fight to where he wanted it to be. He also did this to Canelo here, landing a beautiful 1-2 to set up a lunging jab, something he lands so consistently when opponents are trying to back up and they think they're in the clear. So how the hell is Beterbiev supposed to beat a guy that looks seemingly perfect and so disciplined with this style? A great point I saw online, so I can't take credit, but I also don't remember where I saw it, so I can't really give credit. But that point was that Beterbiev has seen this style literally hundreds of times. Artur Beterbiev grew up and fought his amateur fights mostly in Russia against guys born in the USSR, meaning he's had to fight this style or some form of this style probably way more times than Bivol has had to face a guy with Beterbiev's style. I mean, Beterbiev met Usyk in the amateurs, knocked him down, and also met him in 2012 Olympics and went head-to-head with him in a very close fight where he gave him a nasty body shot in a standing 8 count. Practically all of his amateur fights and his early pro fights is him against a Soviet-style fighter, and practically all of his fights in general are against guys that have to adopt some form of the same game plan of out-moving, out-boxing, and keeping a jab out there to distance themselves from Beterbiev, because you would be a dumbass to try to fight him on the inside and try to outpower a guy like him. But obviously we're talking about Dmitry Bivol, who I said is probably the best version of this style, but I think the big advantage coming in for Beterbiev is that he's seen this style before, and a lot, to the point where he has specific tricks to take advantage of this style. Let's start with the strengths to explain what I mean. By far, Beterbiev's greatest strength is his ability to generate power from short distances. I think there's 2 types of power. The first is generated by explosiveness. Think Mike Tyson, Gervonta Davis, Canelo Alvarez. These guys explode off their legs, turn their hips extremely quick, and their power is really generated from how quick they're able to do all of this. The second is almost God-given, heavy hands. Think George Foreman, Triple G, or even Alex Pereira. These guys don't turn their hips much, but their hands are so heavy that even though they're not cocking their hand back or having a wide range of motion with their punch, they're able to rock opponents with ungodly power. And this is the type of power Beterbiev has. Look at the beatdown of Marcus Brown. Very similar to Triple G, when he has someone on the ropes, Beterbiev just spams these short hooks and uppercuts and doesn't have to throw all too wide to decimate and break down Brown in the corner. The knockdown before in the 7th, granted he did land a left hook to the body beforehand, but what sent down Brown was a right hand with little travel distance, and Beterbiev barely had to move here to unload this heavy right hand. So why is it so important for Beterbiev to throw with so much power in short distances, especially against Soviet-style fighters? Let's look at the Joe Smith Jr. fight. For anyone intending to outbox a puncher like Beterbiev, the jab seems to be the most important weapon as it maintains distance from the power and is supposed to control the fight. Artur Beterbiev knows the jab is pretty much always going to come in volume at that, and is a master at countering the jab with a short but powerful right hand. And here Joe Smith Jr. spams the jab, looks like he's backing up the monster before Beterbiev slips his head into the inside and throws a giant right over the top. And in the beginning of the 2nd round, here's an important sequence I want to show you guys. Joe Smith Jr. backs up Beterbiev with jabs to the ropes, and in the small window Joe opens up for a right hand to the body. Beterbiev comes with a short right on the temple to send him down. And I think this is the shot that could send Bivol down. And I could see Bivol spamming jabs to get Beterbiev in place. Bivol might think he has Beterbiev where he wants him to be, opens up with a right, and then Beterbiev pops him with a right hand, and because he's so heavy-handed, he can generate this power even off the ropes. His ability to counter the jab is also shown beautifully here against Callum Smith. Early in the second, Beterbiev has Callum Smith this time on the ropes, and as Smith brings out his left hand to jab, Beterbiev slips to the inside to get his head off the center line and brings his right around Callum Smith's left arm. This little move is very effective at getting around a long left arm because the left arm and shoulder itself blocks vision from Callum's left side, and thus Beterbiev is able to counter undetected. And same thing, going to a more Soviet-style matchup and probably the stylistic matchup we're going to see with Bivol, when Beterbiev faced Alexander Vojtik of Ukraine, he constantly was landing that right hand over the top of the jab to land a powerful shot on the temple undetected. And I'm really hammering away at this specific shot because in one of the very few moments Bivol has been caught, that shot is why he got caught. It wasn't a jab but a left hook against Joe Smith Jr. that he threw, and because of the lack of vision from his left side, Joe Smith Jr. was able to throw around the outside to get to the temple. Another weapon I could see Beterbiev landing a couple times is a short right uppercut. His uppercut game is nasty because, again, he is so heavy-handed and generates power from short distances, and in the Canelo fight, the only punch really landing for Canelo when he briefly got Bivol to the ropes was that right uppercut, and sure, Bivol handled them well, but I don't think he can take more than 2 of these from a legitimate light heavyweight and heavy-handed guy in Beterbiev. But in any case, I'm telling you, that right hand around the jab and over the top of the temple will be the shot that ends things if things do end. So in summary, like I've been saying this entire video, Beterbiev has seen this style before. Now, will he be able to execute and drop that big right hand over the top of the jab? At 39 years old, also coming off an injury that originally pushed this fight back, it's going to be really hard to recover at that age. And Bivol at 33 is looking prime, is looking ready, and has been looking pretty much unstoppable throughout his last 5 fights especially. But again, what do you guys think about this fight? It's going to be close even with the age gap. But again, with the stylistic matchup, I do have Beterbiev having a good chance to win. I don't know if I would put money on that, but it's going to be close. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.